I'm leaving that yawn in. But welcome back, New World Fantasy Football. It's been a minute. I'm just gonna full disclosure say we did record a video that didn't get posted because I am busy as fuck and Paul has zero editing skills, so that didn't get done. Left in the ethers. Nothing all that important to be honest. We kind of just BS'd about our dynasty teams again and playoffs, and we were wrong. The Lions lost. Commanders just Jaden Daniels is the real deal. It would appear.
Yeah, he is.
And then now we're talking about coaching. The coaching carousel starting to spin a little bit, picking up steam, which is always interesting. I think people we kind of overrate knowing what these coaches are now going to be and think that we know and we really don't know, but we like to pretend we know. So we're doing that too. But Paul, man, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Look, not every episode is going to get, consumed by the masses. It's going to go in the vault, in 10 years when we are the number one home podcast out there. We might go back into the vault, but as you all know, I am not here for my editing skills. I am strictly on air talent. That's what this face is for.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm doing good. It's been a hell of a week. You're busy as hell. I'm busy as hell. Work is crazy. My team's offensive coordinator is a fucking liar. So it's been a lot. It's been a week. It's been a week. I'm over here. I got my poison, and I'm ready to give some bad takes.
I got my poison too in the form of coffee. Some coffee.
Very different vibe. It's Friday night, folks. This is
right.
New World After Dark.
Paul's not married with no kids. I am married with a child, so we live different lifestyles. I drink coffee and on Friday nights. But so what do you want to talk about first? Like, you want to just jump right into these playoff games, talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
So review wise, I just want to say the Chiefs got away with bullshit again.
They always do, dude.
Multiple ridiculous calls that the Chiefs got due to Patrick Mahomes' bullshittery and refs' bullshittery.
But you don't actually think Houston was going to win, though, right?
No, but I would like for the refs to give them a fair shot to win.
Yeah,
I'd appreciate that. The Texans had been kind of sloppy towards the end of the season anyway, but it just feels like, and this is my hatred that comes out, hatred, jealousy, envy, disdain.
You covered like 4 deadly sins. That's
whatever.
Impressive.
Yeah. Like, of how come the Chiefs get this easy path again with a falling apart Texans team. Falling apart is probably too strong of a word, but their offense had struggled throughout the year.
They're a flawed roster that lost 2 big-time receivers.
And their O-line wasn't good to begin with, and CJ Stroud really struggled with like a bunch of backups in O-line and guys who are playing through injury and all that. I think injuries, though, it's not really an excuse because every team, even the Chiefs, have injuries. So It's not truly fair to use that as the reasoning, but it just felt like they got to run through a team that was not at their best at the moment. And it's just like, man, fuck the Chiefs. Why do they get another easy, like, cake victory where they look like half decent, but they still win?
But see, that's that's kind of been the story of their season. But at the end of the day, I know we're not into the preview section yet, so we're not gonna do this. But at the end of the day, we got to where I feel like we always knew we were gonna get Allen Mahomes, Volume 4.
Let's go, Josh. Make it happen already, bro. Come on.
It's been too many years, and I'm not here saying that, like, look, Josh Allen's weapons maybe not necessarily a juggernaut, right? Like in that in that term, but like this feels like it has to be the year. Again, they're on the road. Okay, that's that's a concern, right? But like the Chiefs have won a lot of football games, but they have not looked like the dominant team that, maybe they've been in the past, or maybe a two-time Super Bowl champion might otherwise look. So like it feels like this is the moment, but I don't want to I don't want to get into the analysis of that game because I feel it wouldn't necessarily respect the game that you just mentioned. Chiefs offense did click more. Travis Kelce, unsurprisingly, right? They took him out of the ice, out of the cryo chamber, and he he kind of looked like a throwback version of himself. So they did look better, but I want to give a little credit to CJ, as maligned as his sophomore season has been. I thought he looked good, overall. Like, what did he play a perfect game? No, he didn't play a perfect game, and the Chiefs defense is as tough as they come. But I just remember while I was watching the game thinking like, okay, despite as down as we are on him after this regular season, like he still looked like the same guy to me.
I thought that his decision making was a little slower. I think it comes from when your O-line doesn't give you a lot of time. Your internal clock speeds up by even a few milliseconds, and that's enough to force mistakes from the quarterback. I think that's something, and don't let me go down this path too far. Just a quick little step down memory lane. I do feel like that's a big reason of why Daniel Jones looked so bad after his rookie year.
Just kind of lost the trust.
Just everything sped up for him, and you got Joe Judge in there who messed him up, and everyone messed him up. In his rookie year, he was like a gunslinger that stood in the pocket and was like, fuck it, hit me. I'm going to sling this ball. I think that happened a little bit to CJ Stroud this year, where everything sped up for him, and understandably it did. And then his security blanket in the beginning of the year gets hurt. It's Stephon Diggs. His deep field stretcher gets hurt later on, and honestly just didn't have a great year himself when he was playing. He couldn't seem to catch a deep ball anymore. And Nico was hurt for a good portion of the season, and just it was a little rough from this year.
Maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm a sucker for, and this is kind of why I never got off the Herb train. I never got off of certain quarterbacks. You always say you're like a sizeist when it comes to like receivers. I don't know how I would like describe this, but I am I'm superficial when it comes to quarterback arm talent. I'm a sucker for a pretty looking ball. Just with something about like an attractive spiral, and I elevate the rest of that quarterback's game, because even just now revisiting the stats certainly are not impressive, right? Like looking at it, like even in this game, but I feel like watching it visually, I remembered it better just because, again, I still feel like the ball just looks good coming out of the hand. And I know that's very smooth brain football analysis, but I have to like just admit that about myself.
It's okay. We all are kind of it's human nature to be attracted to beauty, and to you that's beauty. So I understand that. To me, beauty is a gritty ass quarterback who just keeps the chain moving. Like I am a sucker for guys like, who I've always liked, and he always gets shit on, but I always liked Alex Smith because he can run an offense. And yeah, it wasn't spectacular, but he'd run a little bit. He would do what he had to do to keep the chains moving. I kind of like that about. Aaron Rodgers was great, but like Kirk Cousins, another guy I love is Jameis Winston. He makes a lot of mistakes, but he's gritty as hell. He doesn't back down. He does what he has to do. Like, and yes, the
Bakers of the world.
I love Baker because he never gives up. Like, I love that. And maybe it's just we're just reflecting the things that maybe we see ourselves or we'd like to see in ourselves or something weird like that. But anyways, we are an hour late starting this.
What do you
Getting off
think?
topic.
What do you think of them cutting Bobby Slowick?
They cut him? Is that what happened?
Yeah, he's gone.
They fired him?
Yep.
Meaning?
Or yeah, I use the word cut, but yeah, they fired him.
Yeah, I figured you meant fire. Whatever, it's the same thing. I honestly, man, I haven't thought about that, but just like top of mind, kind of odd that they would do that after a season where, like we just talked about,
Injuries all over the place.
Injuries, O-line, like what he was talked about as like the next big hotness as a 1 year ago, as like the next one of the him and Ben Johnson being like the two prized possessions of the head coaching market in the next season, and then to be fired. It's crazy. But yeah, playoff games though, man. God. It is.
You just mentioned Ben Johnson. Maybe this is the time to talk about fucking RIP Lions. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Just
so,
like that, it's over.
Wow, man. Freaking Lions, you kick ass. You look like arguably the most dominant team in the league throughout the entire season. And then you ran into the buzzsaw that is the Washington offense and a young rookie quarterback that just refuses to die. And I got to say, as a Giants fan, we're in fucking hell because we're looking at an NFC East matchup to go to the Super Bowl. So there's no saving us there. We have to pick the lesser of two evils. And just keeping it with Washington, now for the better part of a decade to 15 years, we have to play against Jaden Daniels. And we will see. I will leave a small window open, a crack in the window. Do we see a sophomore season like a Baker Mayfield or like a CJ Stroud where they come back down to earth? It's possible, but with the kid's instincts and with the coach, I think Dan Quinn is a top 5 NFL coach. Don't fucking at me. The guy is legit.
Great job. Particularly, I thought Dan Quinn even more. That defense is playing so much better than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, and they made some big moves to get better.
What names do they have?
Marcus Lattimore is there now.
Okay, fine, but he's old.
Yeah, but he's still good.
I'm just surprised that their defense has held up as well as it's been in the playoffs.
And their defense, and the thing is, when your offense is that good and they're on the field so long, and you can play with your ears pinned back, every defense is going to look better. But credit where it's due. They look a lot better than anybody thought they would at the beginning of the season. So credit there. But yeah, and now we're looking at the other side with the Eagles, who just played were just outclassing LA, and LA just like the Rams just like couldn't do shit on offense against Philly.
This is going to be the best defense that Jaden Daniels absolutely has played thus far. But I do think that the Lions deserve a little bit more time.
Okay, yeah.
Before moving on. First of all, like Jaden Daniels, fully legit. NFC East is in trouble. Obviously, there's always an injury factor that comes in. I'm knocking on wood. You never want to wish injury on a guy.
Could be any player at any time. So
could be any player, but you can call it chugging the Kool-Aid, which I've already admitted. I think in the last episode.
You're allowed. You're allowed.
Yes, I've chugged the Kool-Aid, but I'm at the point now with Jaden Daniels. One playoff win against the Bucs, okay. You can say, it's the Bucs, it's this and that and the third. They beat the Lions now. I no longer have any doubt whatsoever that Jaden's the real deal. I don't have any doubts. The only potential hopium that I give to the Giants or the Eagles or the Cowboys, even though I don't really care about the Cowboys, the only hope that I give is Washington has had a great year, and I think they hired good coaches, which is good. They have a new ownership group, great. This franchise still has to prove to me that they can build a team. You got it. You got the quarterback. That's the hardest part. You did it.
Yeah.
Congrats. But building the rest of the roster around him to maximize him to have that, like you said, 10-year run, we'll see.
I think,
We'll see. Because that franchise doesn't have a great track record in that regard.
No, but you know what? I'm gonna wipe that slate clean with a new owner, GM, head coach, quarterback down the line. I'm gonna wipe the slate clean with that because it's all new dudes in there, new minds. I think I don't know about the GM, but the moves that he made in season have pretty much worked out. And I think, honestly, yes, I think that the NFC East is absolutely in trouble. Because yes, Philly is a juggernaut right now, but Nick Sirianni is a fucking fraud. Their salary cap is shit, and yes, that's kind of phony fugazi crap. But it's still you still have to work around it. And I've said this before. I'll say it again, and I will die with this. You can put it on my fucking tombstone. Jalen Hurts is the most overrated player in the NFL. So there.
I think that's going to be a story right now. If you're just talking roster for roster, if everybody's healthy, Philadelphia has the best team and the best roster left.
They do.
In the field. But to your point, if they don't get it done this year, that narrative is going to turn ugly really quickly because I think they have the weakest quarterback remaining in the field. And these playoffs and each subsequent NFL season continues to show me that if you want staying power, anybody can have a run. Anybody can have an elite run and do it. But if you want staying power as a franchise, everything else revolves, and it's a revolving door of guys at every other position. The dominant factor has to be the quarterback. But and that kind of brings me back to the Lions. Putting them to bed unexpectedly, not even winning one playoff game this season, that's tough. I mean, you had the number 1 overall seed. Pretty much always knew you were going to lose this supposed whiz kid OC. They lost their DC. You can kind of excuse it away from the fact that the defense was absolutely gutted and decimated by injuries. That sucks. That's not really anybody's fault. But Jared Goff didn't look good either against a defense that I don't know. I don't think you would call them world beaters.
They're
right?
beatable. They're a beatable defense. Even though we were singing their praises, they still are beatable.
So then, what is okay? You're trying to project forward, right? And look, we're talking ball because the fantasy season's over, but this is a fantasy football show. Going forward, thinking about the Lions, 1 to 10, what's your kind of concern level after this season going into next season?
My concern level with their fantasy assets? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, just with the team overall. Yeah.
I'm not very concerned fantasy wise. I think that we're a team that's going to be picking 27th, 28th overall. They're not getting a quarterback. Not someone that's going to be able to come in and play right away. There might not be a single quarterback in this draft that can come in and play right away.
Yeah, but they're married to Goff one way or another.
Yeah, they're sticking with Goff more than likely. They're sticking with Goff, unless they try to pull some crazy trade. How funny would it be? Matt Stafford goes back to the Lions.
Yo, that would be great.
Hilarious. But yeah, so I'm on Raw, locked in. Like all the skill positions that you care about are locked in there. The only one that's a little shaky, it's kind of a mix between, I guess there's 2 that are somewhat shaky. It's Jameson. If they draft somebody who's more of a traditional receiver, more consistent, he'll still be on the field for big play threat. I mean, he's proven that throughout the season. He's a big play waiting to happen. And Sam Laporta, this season we saw him get phased out somewhat. And, he started scoring a few more touchdowns later in the season, but not enough to really make anybody truly happy with that pick. But, he'll still be probably a top 5 tight end next year off the board. So I'm not severely concerned. Dan Campbell is the real deal as a coach to me. I think that they'll hire some new guys. Maybe they promote from within. I don't know who their next OC is going to be. But yeah, losing Ben Johnson's a big deal, I think, for that offense. I think he truly was able to unlock Jahmyr Gibbs in a way that was like, holy crap, this guy is freaking amazing. And there's going to be some unknowns there. How is the usage going to be with Gibbs, Montgomery? How's the offense going to look? Overall, I'm not overly concerned.
I think you have to downgrade the offense to some degree because
a little bit, very slight.
Well, then why were we jerking this Ben Johnson guy off for 2 years if losing him doesn't downgrade the offense? I look, I actually kind of feel I feel a little bit opposite in a way that I'm less worried about the running game going forward than I am about the passing game because I think the offensive line is going to stay legit. They've got talent all up and down that unit. They have talented backs. I think any offensive coordinator worth his own ass, I think, should be able to keep that consistency going. But there's going to be value. Amon-Ra, I'm not worried about him at all. Laporta, tight end, is so thin. Okay, fine. I think his value probably stays fairly stable. But yeah, the JMOs of the world, probably a little worried because I just don't know if there's going to be as much fantasy point goodness going around next season from Goff.
Well, we have to see who the OC is going to be, and it's not like players on the team have zero say. They've been in that system for a few years. They can kind of implement a little bit, and they like, hey, yeah, that's cool. We did this and this and this and this. Really, we love this. This worked. Let's implement this into your system.
Some of it stays behind. Of it stays behind.
So, anyways, let's move on to some other teams, dude.
Speaking of a team losing their OC, the Buccaneers. If we got on this, if we hopped on literally 24 hours ago, I would be having a very different conversation. I would say, hey, Liam Cohen turned down the Jacksonville job. He's coming back. We're running it back with the exact same coaching staff. Let's go. But that did not happen. Dude, I so do not care about any OC that takes a head coaching job because there's only 32 of them things. I completely get it. You got to take an opportunity if you believe in the opportunity, but the way that it happened was so bizarre and so shady that it really just makes me fucking question if you would even want this guy as your head coach. Like, okay, you verbally agree or you take an interview with Jacksonville. They still have Trent Baalke's loser ass, Shad Khan, total poverty franchise energy, lame duck GM. I understand why you don't take that job based on that. And then maybe I even understand why you might reconsider if they're willing to get rid of the Baalke guy for you. I can understand that. But you go back to the owner, the head coach, all of your assistant coaches you already had, and Baker, and you verbally agree to the biggest contract ever given to an assistant coach in NFL history, enough of a verbal agreement that they alert the media and they start reporting on this shit. And then in the middle of the night and the next day, when the team is trying to reach you to get you to actually sign on the dotted line to make the deal official, they cannot reach you for the entirety of a day. You are in Jacksonville secretly getting flown out like, some fucking floozy getting flown out to Vegas. And you end up doing this like secret interview and you don't get back to anybody. And then finally you call Todd Bowles back to let him know, oh yeah, I ended up taking the Jacksonville job. No, dude, that's a fucking snake move. I'm sorry. That's Josh McDaniels energy. I'm not into that. I'm really disappointed because the dude did legitimately a good job on the Buccaneers. That offense, he had him humming. He's clearly a really good play designer and a play caller, but I don't think he's a good dude.
Yeah.
I don't like. I don't know. Maybe that's a little harsh. I don't know the man personally, whatever, but I don't like if that's how you handle your business and that's how you handle yourself. I just don't know if that's like the culture setter that I want in my building in an already pretty shaky building to begin with, right? So
Yeah.
you just got the entire like I just unloaded all of that into the ether here. I had to vent and let it out. You tell me your
Um,
thoughts.
I'm glad you vented. I don't have too many thoughts on it. Yes, really lame, like beta male energy there.
Beta.
You should have just told them, hey, I am gonna listen, guys, I'm sorry, but I do need to reconsider this job. I'm gonna go get interviewed. And then just let them know. Just let them know that this is a possibility so they can start planning the what ifs. And yeah, that's lame as hell. But okay, the guy took an OC job, and you know what? He went to Jacksonville. So everything's gonna be okay. Here Bucks are still gonna be a better team. So, dude, what other teams, or do you want to talk about any other teams? I mean, the Bills, to talk about them.
Well, we got to talk about that Bills Raven game. I mean,
Yeah,
I
the
don't know.
Bills
I don't,
Ravens.
because I mean, first of all, it was a crazy game,
Yep.
but
Fun game, entertaining game.
it was an entertaining game, but I guess it's more appropriate to start with the winner. But I feel like the biggest story after the
Let's
game was
let's let's
definitely
talk
the
about let's talk
Stupid
about the
loss.
Ravens. Let's talk about the Ravens first because I have something to say about the Bills that I'm gonna kind of say something extra there. So, dude, what's the deal, man? What why can't Lamar just get past, you know, a few more steps in the playoffs? Like, is it just the opponents that are just that good? It seems like that's probably more so what it is. And I thought the Ravens played a solid game, but just too many mistakes. Some that missed the drop from Mark Andrews was massive. And yeah, yeah. Just
So it's funny you should say that because obviously that's been the topic of conversation. Like on I guess probably basically every fucking sports podcast in existence out there of what's wrong with Lamar, why can't he get it done in the playoffs, this and that. To some degree and in many games, I am quite sure that that's been fair. I don't know if I can really say that this time.
yeah,
He
I
look,
agree.
he had one brutal interception. I don't know what he was doing there. He floated that ball like it was Peter Pan.
Yeah,
So yeah, that interception was ugly. Okay, he also had a fumble. Again, I'm sitting here, I'm trying to defend an interception and a fumble, like that's not shitty, but it's in the ice and snow. He's getting molested by three dudes in the middle of a sack. Probably a smaller and slighter quarterback than Josh Allen in those conditions. I don't know. I'm not trying to be like an apologist, but the fumble was not as bad to me as the interception. The interception was legitimately brutal. But then he's also the same guy that brought you all the way back.
yeah,
In that game, he's the same dude that brought you all the way back with an opportunity to tie it. Mark Andrews, dude, not great. Not great because he had his own fumble earlier in the game. And then that 2-point conversion certainly looked like a catchable ball to me, Andrew.
yeah. Yeah, a few mistakes were made, and this is a media thing. This is a sports podcasting thing where we hyper focus on quarterbacks. Um, it's a team game. It's a team game. Um, and I thought that the Bills just did a better all around job of
They played a
play
cleaner game.
play calling. Yeah, keeping it clean, playing in their own a building and everything like that does make a difference. I think if there's anything to be said about Lamar, I think when these huge games in the playoffs come around, it does seem like maybe he starts pressing a bit. When you're as talented as he is, you kind of have that instinct like you've had your whole life. I can take over games. But in the NFL, yes, to a certain degree you can, but you have to do it smart. I think that he starts getting a little bit in his head, a little bit wild.
He certainly, like, even though I don't feel like he played all that terrible in this most recent playoff game. Yeah, he hasn't played to his MVP standard. No way.
Yeah.
He hasn't. Yeah, nowhere near it.
But
he had like what, the same amount of turn, or like I think he had almost like half his turnovers in that game alone.
Yeah. His regular season was amazing. I mean, he truly broke out as a passer. So
he has no more than 2 touchdowns in any of the playoff games I'm looking at right here.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we got to look at Harbaugh too. Like, well, why are you not coaching to what you've done all year? And is that Harbaugh? Is that Lamar? Is what's going on there? Is that the OC?
Why is Derrick Henry not getting the rock on the 2-yard line?
Stuff like that. Like, why are you trying to play 4D chess when you are winning just playing elite level checkers? It's okay. You can win that way. Just do what you do best.
This is very narratively bullshit that I have to ask you, but I'm going to anyway, just for fun. What do you think about some of these coaches that Mike Tomlin, John Harbaugh, there's a couple of these guys around. I'm sure there's others. Shanahan, right? Guys that like pretty much everybody agrees these are great coaches, or at least very good coaches that have had a lot of success, but maybe their fan bases are getting a little tired of the spiel of, you always get us there, you edge us, but we get no release. Mm-hmm. What do you do? Do you just continue to keep going to the well because who else are you going to get that's better? Or is there a certain point where it's just stale?
Okay. What you're talking about, to me, in my opinion, now you're talking to a Giants fan. We would murder any animal you throw at us in the street to get Mike Tomlin. Okay. You're telling me that we get to win double-digit regular season games every year, or close to it, at least 9 games every year? Sign us up. My comparison, putting my comparison of my own fan base fandom aside, these are the squeaky wheel fans. These are the loud minority that you're seeing, because what we react to is what we see in the media, which is hyperbole. What you see on X and on Instagram and whatever other, MySpace, if you're still on there, like this kind of stuff. You see the crybaby fans. The grass will not be greener on the other side. It takes one tremendous run to win a Super Bowl for any team, even the dynasty. It is so hard to win a Super Bowl, to get through all the shit of a season.
Why does it seem so easy for the Chiefs?
Ask the refs. So it is so hard. You have to go on a amazing run. Once again, I will go back to the positive side of my Giants fandom. The 2 Super Bowls that I really got to experience in my lifetime was a 9-7 fucking team that like started like 0-2 and put it together all. And then I think the year the second time they won the Super Bowl, I think it was like a 10-win season. Like it's still a very good season.
Neither was a dominant regular season team.
No, they went on a run. They got hot at the right time. They got a lot of breaks. I go back and watch I went back and watched the 2011, 2012 season, that postseason run, because that was like the best month of my life ever. I am married and have kids. You know, we're gonna rate those, but yeah, that's top. So, like, I watch those games successively, like one after the other. The Giants got a lot of breaks, like fair breaks, of a few good calls, of like a ball bouncing off of a guy's shin on a punt that the Giants recover. That's super lucky. A Mario Manningham catch on the sideline in the Super Bowl. Like every game, they caught some breaks to win these games. So it takes some luck.
So we're not giving up on Lamar Jackson.
What I'm saying is a coach like John Harbaugh, a coach like Shanahan, a coach like Tomlin, if they're getting you to the playoffs every year, be happy and hope your team goes on a run. Stop fucking crying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the end of the day, like it's a knee-jerk angry fan reaction of like, oh, Lamar, he always sucks in the playoffs.
Yeah,
it's like,
let's get rid of him. Let's get rid of him. Sign Jameis Winston. Things will be better.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I understand. Like, look, I would be frustrated too because we just said it clearly. The same dude that is just blasting people in the regular season doesn't seem to have the same degree of success in the postseason. But at the same time, dude, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You're not going to get anybody better.
No, you're not. And you look at him, you say, it's the emotion because it's, where my team lost. Okay, that sucks. I know, it sucks. Well, guess what? He just went like 40-4, 40 touchdowns and like 4 interceptions, whatever it was, in the regular season. He's still super great with the ball in his hands. He's arguably the best running quarterback. You can make an argument for a couple other players, but whatever. He's a playmaker. You're not finding anybody better. You just got to hope that he gets this right in the playoffs. His coaching staff's on the right page. His defense plays well, and he plays well enough to win the game. It's a team game. Getting rid of one of the best and 2-time MVP quarterback, potentially 3, is freaking ridiculous. It's just people. What I found about football is there's a lot of fans that don't understand the game on a very deep level, and that's okay. But all these people have a very shitty asshole, and that is their opinion. Opinions are like assholes, and they're also just very nasty, shitty ones a lot. But everyone has a voice. You know? You go on the internets, you have a voice.
Everything that you're saying, I 100% agree with. But I will say I feel for the Baltimore fan that just takes a little peek about an hour down the road, about an hour down 295, and just sees like, damn, that rookie quarterback that Washington just got, man, he looks pretty good in the playoffs. He looks pretty good.
Yeah, I can understand that, but
that's tough.
Once again, as a Giants fan, do you know the sick, disgusting things that we would do to get Lamar Jackson?
like maybe go back in time and Tommy DeVito.
Oh, he would. Yeah, we would wipe cutlets off the face of the earth. There'd be no cutlet. I mean, you don't have to go as far back for Lamar. We'd have Jaden.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You just maybe trip this dude on the way to the facility. But
the Bills,
the Ravens, we put them to bed, but the winners and potentially our only hope against another Chiefs goddamn Super Bowl is the Bills.
You talk first because I'm gonna reveal something about the Bills. I guess my take that I've teased you about has to do with the Bills. So
I can't wait. I mean, you want to talk about edging? Shit. Look, I think the only takeaway that I had from that game, and it's very, very simple, is the Bills played clean football and they let the Ravens beat themselves. Josh was not particularly impressive. He had some good plays, he had some big plays, but he was not, like a game. Hey, 2 years ago, 1 year ago, whatever, for this to be a Bills win, it would have had to be Josh Allen, put on your cape and save us. You gotta be responsible for 3 touchdowns. You gotta have crazy amount of yards on the ground. Like, you have to do something. But stats wise, Josh had a pretty pedestrian game. He just didn't make the same mistakes that Lamar did. The Bills did not make the same mistakes that the Ravens did, and they're walking away the winners. That's kind of the only takeaway that I had from it.
yeah, I pretty much have the same thing. I was happy they got to hold it down in their home building and win for Bills Mafia. Just like I was rooting for the Lions, it's the same. I have the same kind of feelings with the Bills of you have a really good team now, and you've been deprived of a Super Bowl.
This fan base deserves it.
The fan base
documentary was brutal.
Yeah, the things that. I mean, Bills Mafia is so used to being tortured that they literally go and torture themselves before the game. It's like nothing can hurt them, except for the Bills losing.
Feel something.
Except for the Bills losing, that hurts them. So yeah, man, I just want to see. I would love to see the Bills get to the Super Bowl, and not the Chiefs. The Chiefs, they've got enough lately. I feel like Taylor Swift and her blood magic are gonna just make it happen again, sadly. But yeah, man.
The image that I have in my mind when I think about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Do you remember Game of Thrones?
Yeah, of course.
The red witch lady.
Melisandre.
With that shadow monster coming out of her nethers.
Yeah.
I feel like she's brewing one of them up, and it's making its way towards Josh Allen.
Oh God, watch us just get deprived, and Josh Allen sprains his ankle in the first drive, and
don't say it.
I'm just saying that's the kind of blood magic. That's the kind of blood magic that would happen. But okay, so I teased a bit off air and a little bit on here about I have a certain take, and it has to do with Josh Allen, but really it has to do with for 28 other teams, the offseason has begun. And me being a quarterbackless, a fan of a team with no quarterback, really, that's what I'm hearing every day. I'm listening to Giants stuff. I actually haven't been as much because it's so negative right now. It's like, all right, enough's enough. I realize the Giants suck and frustrating. Okay. But I listened to one about prospects, and who do we hear the comparison to every single year? There's 2 or 3 quarterbacks that get talked about as the next Josh Allen. The next Josh Allen. This guy could be the next Josh Allen. That guy could be the next Josh Allen. This guy. Okay, here's the take I want to make about that. First of all, I get the comps because of just physical traits and people talking about Jalen Milroe now, and who was it last year? I don't know. Will Levis or something like that. Was talking about him. Oh, he could be the next Josh Allen because he was not very good. Anthony Richardson was talked about as being the next Josh Allen because he's got physical traits that are through the roof. Okay. What doesn't ever get talked about, and this is my theory. Josh Allen was drafted, what was it, 6th overall, 7th overall to the Bills based off physical traits. But here's the caveat. Here's the difference. Josh Allen was at like a Division III school.
Yeah, he came in through JUCO, didn't he?
Whatever. I think Wyoming is like a Division III school or something like that. You'll have to fact check me on that. Maybe it's Division II. I think it's Division III or something like that. So the fact that Josh Allen came through a Division III school and people want to compare, let's just use Anthony Richardson. Anthony Richardson went to Florida. Now people want to make the comparison with the Jalen Milroe. Okay, he went to freaking Alabama, dude. And whoever else you want, somebody wants to compare to the next Josh Allen. All these guys coming from like high-end schools with premier coaching. To me, this point never gets made. Maybe Josh Allen, he was just missed by recruiters for whatever reason, and the physical talent was actually be able to be stacked up on because he was getting Division III coaching. And then he goes to the NFL and gets NFL level coaching with a brain that and a physical skill set that is not fully unlocked. So when we keep making these comps and wanting this or guy or that guy to be the next quote unquote Josh Allen, well, guess what? Why are they not further along when they're going to Alabama and Florida, and these high-end schools with this top-level coaching? Like, do I just have that completely wrong? Is the coaching in the NCAA and like the SEC and the Big Ten, is that just like, are they not developing players, or is it what's going on? Because I never hear that point being made. And this is why Josh Allen is such a unicorn, because he came from a small school with, coaches who are like basically getting paid as much as a janitor. And for whatever reason, the football world just missed him. Missed him.
Well, and also, like, I completely agree with that take. And I hate that comparison because, these comparisons get made because the people making the comparison do not have enough of an imagination or take the time to develop a real and nuanced, like,
yeah, they watch like 2 highlights and are like, oh, this guy's this
process about a player. But here's the other reality, like, maybe they do, but the networks don't want to hear it. Because when you say the word Josh Allen about any incoming quarterback, what does that fan base automatically feel? Hope. And hope drives engagement. I'm not going to say there will never be another Josh Allen, but the reason why it's so fucking incredibly rare is because this guy's story is unbelievable. Okay, Wyoming is technically D1, but they're an FBS school playing in Mountain West. Who cares? Right? They're not a high-level program. But here's the part that you weren't talking about is he did come from the junior college route. This man started playing organized football in junior college. You and I both know a knucklehead who also played football in junior college. He's not good. Okay? Like, it's just like, so to say that a guy is going to develop, look, Anthony Richardson will never be Josh Allen. I have hope that he can be a serviceable quarterback, but he's not going to be Josh Allen for 2 reasons. Number one, I don't know if anybody is going to be able to take that kind of crazy route and have that, like you said, that jump up in coaching and development that he clearly did not get at the small schools that he got. But there's another element that we don't talk about enough. You have to be a different kind of animal to develop yourself a coach can only do so much. Like, they have the VR stuff that Jaden Daniels is talking about. They have all of this. They have all of this like work that they can do with your throwing mechanics and all of this stuff. If you don't have animalistic work ethic, it's never going to happen. And I'm not sure if any of these guys are going to have it the way that Josh has it. So to me, it's a combination of both those things, because you don't jump from JUCO to D1 in your sophomore or junior year, unless you're an absolute psychopath, not only working on your game but marketing yourself.
Yeah. And then, like you said too, all the greats that we talk about, and this is in multiple sports or anything in life, the ones that are not only great but they have staying power, it's because they grind to stay up top. You gotta keep pedaling to stay in the front of that pack. If you're winning the Ironman competition, you're in first, and you're on that bike, and then you just kind of stop pedaling and cruising, guess what? Somebody behind you is pedaling their ass off and they're going to pass you. So yeah. Okay. We've gushed enough.
By the way, the Bills are just really good. Their defense is playing well. Their O-line is good. All that stuff is good.
All right. So predictions.
Yes.
Let's talk about each individual game. There's only 2. So let's get the NFC out of the way, because I have to talk about these fucking teams. and we kind of went over the teams. We know what they're about. What's your prediction for this game?
It's tough for me, because I think the factor that has me nervous, well, it's 2 factors that have me nervous. Number one, is Jalen Hurts really healthy? He's going to play. He's cleared to play. So obviously he's healthy enough to play in a playoff game. But as you know, that doesn't mean you're 100% healthy. Clearly there's something jacked up about his knee, and he didn't look right for half of that game against the Rams. So if he's limited, if he doesn't get a lot of drive on the ball, and if he doesn't have the ability to use his legs, that's a big limiting factor. So that's a question mark. The only other question mark is Jaden Daniels. Like, that is the magic of having a quarterback you really believe in, is that if you just take both of these teams side by side, Philly has an advantage at almost every damn position on the field. You could argue a couple spots. You might argue number 1 receiver, but in reality, that's kind of a wash. Philadelphia is clearly the better football team, top to bottom. But the reason why I'm nervous about that take is I just keep having in the back of my mind, what if JD just does something crazy? And that's the magic of having that guy when, Hurts is serviceable, and I think he's a really good quarterback, but he's not a guy that instills that kind of fear. Listen to me hedging myself. I'm gonna pick Philly. I think that Philly just has the better team. They're at home. I do think they take it. They do have a great defense that can limit Daniels pretty well. I think their O-line can do some damage against Washington's D-line. So I'm going to take Philly, but I do expect a pretty close game. And again, I kind of continuing what I'd said before about this team. This is the year to get them. You better get Washington now. You better beat them now, because I'm not sure you're going to beat them in the future. Yeah.
I feel you there. Like we said earlier, Washington has to continue to build that team well and draft well to stay relevant. But when you have who we have seen Jaden Daniels to be so far, and if he continues this track, they're gonna be hard to stop. So, I just fully disagree on Jalen Hurts. I think he's an average starter at best. I think he's been carried for a long time. I've seen, I don't care if you don't agree with me. I don't care if anyone doesn't agree with me. I've seen so many shitty performances from this dude. I have seen him be pushed into the end zone by his fat ass cheeks many times, which is hilarious for me to say because he's not fat at all. But like, this is just me hating on him. Listen, I don't hate the man, Jalen Hurts. I don't hate anything about Jalen Hurts except for that he's an Eagle. But I honestly think that he gets all these flowers and they are not deserved. I think that he is okay as a starter. I have just seen too many games where he looks bleh and, overthrowing guys, spiking balls, just making bad decisions, holding on to the ball too long, getting set. Dude, I'm sorry, but he's so
not
overrated.
Overly impressive.
He's overrated as hell,
that.
and overrated doesn't mean bad. I just think he's average, and he's carried by a fantastic roster. So, all that being said,
Black Brock Purdy.
well, he's a lot stronger than Brock Purdy. I'll say that. I am picking Philly to win this game, and I hate it because I do not want to see Philly in the Super Bowl. The lesser of two evils for me would be Washington, but I think Philly's going to win because we talk about quarterbacks who are blue in the face. The teams matter. And Philly's defense has been on a great run. I think that run's going to continue. I think they're going to be able to get pressure up the middle on Jaden. And as much of an escape artist as he is, I think they're going to have a good plan for that. And I think that Washington will be able to eke out like 20 points, maybe 24. And I think Philly gets a couple of good turnovers, and their offense does what they do, and they run through Saquon, and they're able to win the game with defense and running the ball.
I think Saquon. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I think Saquon's going to be the X factor because especially he's also going to be a big reason that they're going to be able to keep Jaden Daniels off the field as well.
Yeah, that's a big factor in the game as well.
So I do think Philadelphia ends up kind of. I'm not going to say they win handily, but I do think that they
control the game. They gain
control of the game at some point. But I will say this: as much as if you're telling me to pick a team, I'm picking Philly. But the reason why I wouldn't put any fucking money on it, if it's close at the end, all bets are off.
Yeah. And in a playoff game like this, with it being a division rival, it should be. It honestly should be. Okay, so the game where all of 2 states in the whole country are rooting for red and everybody else is going blue. So kind of flip-flop the presidential race. So, dude, just pick a winner for me.
I don't know if this is my heart or my head, but it's what is guiding me right now. I just feel like this is finally the year that Josh exercises the demons. Again, picking against Kansas City at home against the Bills feels like bad money. I don't care. I just feel like if the regular season matters at all, if it matters at all, and how these teams have actually looked throughout the course of the season matters, I think that Josh Allen and also the Bills have just looked like the better team. They've come close in a lot of these matchups. And I feel it. I just feel like this is finally the year. I don't think this is putting Patty Mahomes to bed. He's still the guy that at the end of any given game is that black cat in the NFL right now that you just don't want to see, and he can always take it from you. But I just don't think that even being a great team, you go to every Super Bowl. I just don't feel like it's their year. I think the Bills go.
Yeah. I really, really, really hope you're right. The last thing I want to see is Chiefs-Eagles. I really do. I hope you're right. Chiefs are going to bullshit, slop their fucking way to the Super Bowl again.
Damn it, man.
The refs are going to be on their side. Mahomes is going to get a call or two that they don't deserve. And, Taylor Swift will probably be there.
No, that sucks because that means they're going to win it all, dude. That means they're going to win because even though Philly is better, they were better the last time we did this. Jalen Hurts is not inspiring enough to defeat the Black Devil magic of the Chiefs. He doesn't have enough of that it factor to reverse that voodoo, to hit it with the reverse Uno card. That sucks.
And I know it's we all have this shining light that we want to just overtake the darkness, but the darkness is just gonna envelop the light in this case. I think I really, and guess what, Taylor Swift, she grew up a Philly fan, so she's gonna get what she wants because she's queen, shadow queen of the world. And I'm gonna hate every second of it, but this is the way this season has went for me, and I'm making my prediction solely off of me. It's all about me and how the world hates me, the NFL world hates me, and wants to see me cry and suffer. The last thing I want to see is a Philly versus Kansas City Super Bowl, and that's what we're gonna fucking get, and it's gonna suck. Yeah. So they're just gonna slop their way. Josh Allen's gonna have a moment where he chokes. Their defense is somehow gonna somebody's gonna slip, and then Xavier Worthy's gonna be wide open. Somehow they're not gonna be able to guard fucking geriatric Kelsey.
It's gonna be a defender falling down on the icy terrain.
Yeah,
X-Worthy's going to be wide open in the flat for a fairly easy 12-yard pass.
They don't want Jason. The NFL doesn't want Jason Kelsey to have to not have one of his favorite teams win either. So
X is going to take it all the way to the house, make about 3 defenders miss, and all you're going to hear is "Oh my God, what a throw by Patrick Mahomes! Oh my God, wow!"
Yeah, is it on NBC?
Brady. This is what happens with sports media, and this is why. You know what? I have a question. Why are we hating on the Chiefs?
Just sick of them winning. That's me. I'm just sick of them winning. I feel the jealousy and the smug of the Kansas City winery, of everyone farting into their glass and sniffing it, of do you remember that promo on the Monday night where that dumb looking bitch was we're the Chiefs, we're gonna win? I'm like,
I have no clue what you're talking about.
You don't remember that? Ask Kaysen, because we both had a comment on that. What the fuck was that? It was a 2-minute promo of some stupid chick who was a Chiefs fan, and she's like, yeah, we're the Chiefs, you can't beat us, I read the script, fuck you. What is that shit?
Okay. The Taylor Swift thing is really annoying, and it's brought, and it has.
It wasn't Taylor Swift though; it was some other actress.
That has brought for sure an extra layer of annoyance to Chiefs, and I get it if people are annoyed. But here's my feelings about that. The Patriots were very easy to hate, and they had obvious reasons. Of course, they had a bunch of BS that helped them win some Super Bowls that some people thought were undeserved. Sure, whatever. But Bill Belichick, kind of an asshole, right? Tom Brady, too much of a charmed life. People really were just pissed off at the fact oh yeah, I'm a quarterback and I win all the Super Bowls and I have a supermodel wife. Fuck you, dude. And
he worked his ass off to be he was a 6th-round pick.
I know, but stay with me. It's also Boston, dude. It's also Boston. Boston is top 3 most hateable city. I've
never been to Boston.
Just mass holes, energy all over the place. The food isn't very good. It's fucking cold. You have a bunch of overeducated snobs with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Dunkin' Donuts is mid, dude. Dunkin' Donuts coffee sucks. So
yeah,
to me, it makes sense why we hated the Patriots dynasty so much. Kansas City, wholesome Midwest, nice people, a team that you can't really say they won a bunch of Super Bowls now, but they didn't really do shit before that. They're not this big market. It's not LA. It's not New York. It's not whatever. So I think this is what I think and why people are souring and turning on the Chiefs. The Taylor Swift coverage, the referees, and the media choking themselves on Patty Mahomes' dong. That's what's making people hate the Chiefs, which isn't really technically their fault, but it's just what they do because these people lack imagination and all they know is we found the next Tom Brady. Like that's all they know how to do, and I think that's what's happening because I don't think that they are a natural enemy to America in that way.
I don't give a shit, man. I just want to see the Bills win. You know what? If for nothing else, I want the Bills fans to be happy for once for a change. Kansas City, it's more to me, it's about the fans. When the fans start sniffing their own farts.
You've had enough fun.
Yeah, when fans start sniffing their own farts and feeling unbeatable, that's when my turning point. The Taylor Swift coverage is a little annoying, yes. I like Mahomes, but
he's fine.
The coverage that he gets is too much. The calls that he gets is too much. That's not his fault.
And he is legitimately great.
Yes, he is. But like, it's more about the fans to me. I don't like when the fans get to be this like hockey favorite, and that's annoying as hell to me. I root for the underdog fans.
I think that happens naturally if your team wins a lot, that like those like bandwagoning J-holes like kind of bubble up to the surface.
Yeah.
I think that's a natural occurrence. But again, all of this, like I'm fucking tired, dude. And I just finished my whiskey glass, so I'm starting to lose some brain cells. But I that is my like little aluminum hat theory about like maybe why that's happening, but ultimately it's the same result. America is fatigued. We have Chief fatigue. Please, Buffalo. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah. I mean, that's my only path to happiness in these next 3 weeks. It's not my children. It's not my wife. It's the Bills being the only remaining team that I find palatable winning the Super Bowl. So
fully natural.
So Josh, I need you to do it. I don't think it's going to happen. I really wish it was. I hope it does, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I think Philly's going to win, and I'm going to fucking begrudgingly watch the Super Bowl. So do you want to draft our players, or you want to talk about something else?
I think we did it. I think we covered it. I'm ready to. Well, the people don't know where we currently stand.
So Paul has a pretty solid lead over me. This has just been his fantasy season so far.
Paul who doesn't know ball.
Paul who doesn't know ball. What did I say? Why did I say that? I forgot what it was.
Because I think so. I think that you were lashing out about like other people, but I also think that I glazed Jaden Daniels too much.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, that's what it was. It was like giving all the credit to Jaden Daniels and none to a completely revamped franchise. I was like annoyed with, but yes, that was me lashing out, and I immediately apologized. But Paul does have a 31-point lead over me through 2 weeks. His Saquon went off. Gibbs went off too, but Saquon went off even more. And then
you had a couple duds as well.
I had like AJ Brown did nothing. That was the biggest weak point. And then the week before that, Derrick Henry was like the man to have, and you had him. So I need somebody. I go first because I am still losing, and I need to have the difference maker on my team. I didn't even plan for this one. I'm just winging it.
Pause real fast.
Yeah.
The pool is shrinking. So I think what we should do, and I think it might make it a little more interesting in terms of variance. Maybe we should have a little bit of a shrunken roster too.
No, because then that doesn't give a fair amount to catch up. Does
It
that make
wouldn't.
sense?
Well, a dud would weigh more if I had a dud, wouldn't it?
No, because I just like to. Oh, I want to just keep it the same because yeah, the pool is shitty, but then it gets a little more interesting having to pick like deeper players.
Damn it! That means I'm gonna have to have Kareem Hunt. All right, let's go.
I mean, there's still 4 teams. There's enough. Like,
it's gonna get weird for the Super Bowl, but all right.
yeah,
Fuck
the
it,
Super
do
Bowl is
it.
going to be a little hard, but whatever. We'll do it. Okay. All right. Yeah. Well, my first pick's got to be Saquon.
Yeah.
We'll see
yeah,
if he just
that
continues to
makes
fucking
sense.
hate me and never just leave my team and then not even
Set
give me any
records
fake
and
fantasy
shit.
points. Huh?
Set records on other teams and shit.
Yeah, good times. All right,
All right.
you got 2.
Let's see. All right.
Oh, I'll write the teams down.
Let me do. I'll do James Cook and man, it's really tough picking this guy off a dud. You know what? Actually, I changed my mind. I'll do Terry Mack.
All right, sweet. Yeah, he was the guy I should have picked over AJ Brown. I was close to picking him instead. He had a much better game. So with me being as much of an underdog, or just down in the standings, my Hail Mary is going to be to, even though there's plenty of quarterbacks, to take Josh and hope that he just puts the team on his back and goes for like 100 rushing yards, a rushing touchdown, and big yardage.
Not a bad show.
Yeah. So Allen, and let's see here. I've got a wide receiver, 2 flexes. Well, shit. I guess I'll take geriatric Kelsey as one of them, and hopefully he can be playoff Kelsey for me.
It's probably a pretty good bet. All right. Well, you went with the QB as a drafter that learns from my mistakes. I guess that means I can wait on a QB as well.
Yeah, would make sense.
So let's see. Dude, this is hard now. I guess give me AJB.
All right.
I think Devonta is just like these are the 2 best like players left, but that's gonna limit me very stupidly. Give me X Worthy.
All right. X Worthy. Okay.
There's a good chance that I can get some ducks in my lineup. This might end up being closer.
Shit, we'll see, man. Okay, so you got Worthy. That's cool. The Bills don't really have many receivers that I like, but I need a wide receiver. So I'm considering Khalil Shakir as a flex. I could go Devonta. You know what? That really is the move. I'll go with Devonta.
I really considered him over AJB. I don't know why. something was telling me this might be a Smith game, but I'm trying to play the percentages. That is the wide receiver one technically in the offense. I just hope he's not reading goddamn books on the sidelines.
Yeah, for real. So my last pick is an interesting one. There's really two players I'm considering. I already said Shakir. Well, actually, I'm considering three. Brian Robinson would be another one to consider. But at the same time, he had a good game last week. And I think it would be more of a game for Eckler than it would be for Robinson. So I'm pretty much between Eckler and Shakir.
Eckler's been running well.
Yeah. And and then Shakir, he's kind of just one of a bunch of dudes. So I'll just go ahead and I'll just go Eckler. And then you got a quarterback.
Eckler's a sneaky pick. Because you don't really think about him as the RB1, but he kind of has gotten way more involved as the season went on.
Yeah, he's just been much more involved, and he's been a guy who's just getting big plays. Like he pops on a few big plays a game, it seems like. So I'm gonna assume you're gonna take Jaden Daniels, but
I'm taking JD. I don't want to root for Mahomes, even though it's very possible he may have a better game. JD's been getting me this far, man. I'm going with him.
He has been your superstar all season. So that's pretty much it. I'll see if I can make up some ground or if I'm going to be relying on Noah Gray for a 3-touchdown Super Bowl. But,
should we pick alternates?
Oh, yeah. Okay. You pick first on that one. That's right. Reserve. You got the first pick there.
Give me B-Rob. I think he's available even though my internet fucked up.
Yeah, he is. So I guess I'll just take Shakir then as my my reserve player just in case. Okay. That's cool. Best of luck.
We have a beautiful marbled ribeye steak on the line.
Yes, it'll be delicious whether I pay for it or not, but better if I don't. We'll see.
Free steak is an elite taste. It is delicious.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely is. All right, y'all. Enjoy the playoffs, what's left of it, and maybe we get back here and talk about shit before the Super Bowl, maybe after the Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll have to see, but I'll make sure this episode actually gets on the internet. So
yes, I cannot wait. If you all listen to us this long, appreciate it. Not much of this season left. There is a limit to football. Enjoy the football. This is an amazing weekend of football. The narratives, the storylines, the potential pain, the joy, all of that shit, and then it will be gone.
Yeah,
and it will be mid-February, and you'll have what to look forward to? What?
Baseball,
basketball.
You really?
I like basketball, but I know not everybody does. What?
Yeah.
Fucking Valentine's Day? Shut up, man. There is literally 3 games of football left.
Yeah.
Live them. Enjoy them.
Yeah. Congrats to Ohio State, by the way, for taking down ND. Yeah, that's another football that is gone. And then, do you even really want to watch baseball because the Dodgers made a super team and they're just going to win it all? Bullshit.
I'm over it, man. I'm over it. Like it's actually been very easy for me to check out of.
All right, I'm gonna get off here and say bye before we start ranting about baseball. Peace.
Later, peace.